Australia says it will not be intimidated by China's economic threats as a row over trade and education escalates. Tensions between both sides has been rising since Australia called for an international inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus. And since then, China has banned Australian beef imports and imposed tariffs on barley. Beijing has also warned against travel to Australia, as well as urging Chinese students not to study there, citing racism. And we're now joined by Professor Ying Zhu, Director of the Australian Centre for Asian Business at the University of South Australia. Professor, thanks for joining us this evening. First up, what's fueling this latest spat between both sides? Is it solely the coronavirus inquiry that Australia is calling for?
No, I think there are a number of issues in recent years. Chinese government has not been very positive toward Australian government policy, including Huawei's involvement in 5G in Australia, and also foreign investment regulation and further on tightening foreign investment in Australia, particularly indicating I think China could be the potential target. And certainly recent event everybody know. I think this is just a kind of a minor reaction, not a really threat. Like the trade issues have been ongoing for many months. But the recent one for tourism and student is just a warning that Chinese government want to show they are not very happy with Australian government, and they want to have a more so-called strategic partnership, in a way have a private dialogue rather than openly quarreling with each other. So I think both sides will step back a little bit. Even now in the Chinese social media, people say that the students still want to come to Australia. And certainly in recent days or recent months, the racism accident or incident happened from time to time. But overall, Australian environment is very safe. And most of people, Asian background student and teacher like me, I don't feel any kind of unsafe, threatening environment here. So this is a kind of a possible sending a signal to Australian government saying that we are not very happy with you. Can we have a more positive relationship by doing kind of a private dialogue rather than opening quarrel with each other?
So, Professor Zhu, then this diplomatic tension between the two sides, then this is not an example of a new type or perhaps more aggressive policy approach by China then?
I don't think it's quite aggressive because there's no action. And trade issue has been ongoing for example, barley has been ongoing for 18 months. Just recently, they make certain decision as outcome, but they still have a kind of open room for further dialogue. And it's not the final, and the beef as well. The tourism issues and student issue are just a signal, no action. And the majority of people will come to Australia from China because they feel Australia is safe. Not just for physical safe, but also environmentally safe. And also, the cases of coronavirus cases in Australia is very low. It's very safe for cities and the country generally. Then I think the Chinese government just signed the signal saying these things, but the people, the citizens, I don't think they will follow. They won't take this seriously, basically.
And do you think then that the Australian government understands the language that China is using and what they actually mean by it?
Yeah, I think Australians are very sensitive now toward expressing things quite openly, but still Australians still following our value and tradition, and we won't trade off with certain threat. They say that, but in a way that I think in the future diplomatic relationship will be repaired through private channels, through private dialogue, rather than opening quarreling with each other.
Okay, many thanks for your thoughts this evening. Professor Ying Zhu, from the Director of the Australian Centre for Asian Business at the University of South Australia.